Welcome to the Seed Farmer Podcast, the podcast where I want you to harvest seeds from some of the vegetables and flowers growing in your farm or garden, and then to plant that seed out to grow delicious vegetables and beautiful flowers. If you enjoy the Seed Farmer Podcast and find it to be a good resource that helps you improve your seed work and farming, please support the show at spreadsheet.farm/supportpodcast. I'm your host, Dan Brisebois, seed grower at Turnasol Cooperative Farm and author of The Seed Farmer, a complete guide to growing, using, and selling your own seeds. Today's minisode is an audio immersive tour of our seed warehouse. Let's start off in the cleaning room. I've got a few seed lots I want to show you. First off, here's a 4-gallon bucket of our mighty mustard mix. Let me pour that into a smaller bucket for you to hear. Like rain, isn't it? That is a subtle sound. Round little seeds cascading from one bucket to the other. Let's go for something a bit bigger. This is a bucket of our mosaic dry bean mix. There's a bit more depth to this sound, but that sound doesn't quite give you the perspective of how much bigger each individual seed is. Let's move into one more seed. These are our red rocket hot pepper seeds. As you can hear, these are a bit smoother as they flow from one bucket to the other. It's also important to be careful when handling hot pepper seeds. Ideally, one would wear a mask and gloves and maybe even safety glasses. Let's move on from the seeds and do a tour of our seed cleaning equipment. Here's our spiral separator. There is one smaller spiral inside a larger spiral. We use this tool to separate spherical things from non-spherical things. It's great to remove splits from soybeans or peas or slightly germinated seeds from brassica seed lots. Let's put that mighty mustard seed through the spiral. You can really hear how those seeds are gaining momentum as they go round the spiral and shoot off the edge into the next spiral. One thing I love about this machine is how there are no moving pieces. It is very easy to clean this, just a few shots from the air compressor. Let's move on to the office clipper. This is a small fanning mill that has 2 screens that shake. Unthreshed pods and big bits are removed from the top screen. Dust and small bits fall through the bottom screen, and the seed floats over the bottom screen, then drops down a chute into a rectangular bin below. There is a fan that winnows the seed as it goes down, blowing out any light stuff that was too big to fall through the bottom screen. That's a great sound. The screen shaking back and forth, and the blower in the background. Let's move over to another giant of a seed machine. Here's the Winnow Wizard. If you've been listening to the Seed Farmer podcast, you've heard about the Winnow Wizard from so many guests. We even had Mark Lutera on the podcast in episode 17 to tell us how he designed the seed cleaning machine. And now you can hear the Winnow Wizard yourself. Let's wake up the giant. Isn't that great? That's the blower starting up and blowing. It uses a pressure differential across a series of perforated metal grates to create a steady flow of air. Now, I thought I had captured the vibrating seed tray that feeds seeds from the hopper in front of these screens, but I seem to have lost that audio, which is a real shame because it was some really good sound, especially the rhythmic thumping of the little magnet separators. Our next tool is a lot simpler. Here is a 9/64 of an inch screen. It is perforated with a bunch of round holes just a bit bigger than the mighty mustard seeds. You can hear the back and forth of the screen as we get that great mighty mustard seed flow sound. This is a lovely sound to listen to throughout the summer and fall as you clean your different seed lots. And it's one that you might miss if you have a podcast habit and view this as a moment where you can plug those buds into your ear. Now, if you're binging the Seed Farmer podcast as you're screening seeds, that is some good educational audio. But now and then, listen to those seed screens. Next up is the forced air dryer. This is where we'll put the seeds to make sure they are dry. This could be a tomato or pepper seeds or cucurbit seeds that we used water to clean, and now we put them in here to make sure they are totally dry. We'll also put in bags of zinnia heads or other cut flowers to keep drying down before cleaning. This is basically a plywood box with a fan on top that sucks the air out through the top. It has screens in it to lay out the seeds. Hélène Sabi built this for us when she worked with us a few years ago. Oh, wait a second. I've got the mic in the airflow, and it's picking up all the wind. We're missing that sound. Let's try again. That's better. You can hear the fan pretty good right there. Let's head over to the seed cold room. So that was the cold room door. It's a bit chilly in here, about 10 degrees Celsius. And here's the dehumidifier we run to keep the room nice and dry. What I like the best about that sound is how dry it gets the seeds. Seed cold room dry. Near the entrance, we started to see some black mold on some of the outsides of the containers. We did not like that at all. So we added the dehumidifier, and it totally fixed things up. It makes me so happy to hear that drying sound. And this is the air conditioner we use to cool this room. It's attached to a cool bot, which lets the air conditioner get colder than it's programmed to. It's set up for 10 degrees Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit. I like that sound, knowing it keeps the seed cool and resting and not in the mood to germinate. Let's head out to the seed pull room. So now we're in the pull room, and I'm following Emily as she pulls a seed order. You can hear Emily checking the packing slips and pulling a pack, and then the next pack, and then the next pack, and so on. And here's a nice sound Emily set up for us. She's shaking all the seed packs from the order. Oh, isn't that satisfying? Now, if the client shows local pickup at checkout, this is the next sound we get. That's the automatic doorbell that goes off when someone opens the front door, and we know to come and welcome whoever came in. Of course, they might not have chose shipping, so let's go work with Jen on order fulfillment. We start off with that's the Dymo printer to get our address label. And then Jen puts the envelope in the mail meter end. Ah, yeah. The sound of postage being applied. I really like that one. And this brings us to our last seed sound. Jen is going to put the seeds into that envelope. You can hear Jen slide those seed packs in. Then she pulls the tab off on the label to reveal the adhesive and then pushes it over, sealing the pack. and off those seeds go into the world. And with that, I'll send you off into the world. And that's another minisode of the Seed Farmer Podcast. I would love to know about your favorite seed sounds. You can share them with me by email or DM. And I also wish you a happy April 1st. Thank you to Sophie et Sedalton for the theme music. You can hear more of their music at sophiesedalton.com. And thank you to Molly Brisebois for editing this episode. And happy birthday, Molly. And thank you so much for listening. You can find more seed growing resources on my blog at seedgrowers.farm. While you're there, you can subscribe to my newsletter full of seed growing, crop planning, and farm spreadsheets. You can also find out where to order a copy of my book, The Seed Farmer, a complete guide to growing, using, and selling your own seed. And you can support the podcast at spreadsheet.farm/support-podcast, or follow the link in the show notes. If you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, now's the time. You wouldn't want to miss the next episode. Until then, happy farming.